The 3 dishes that you're about to see in this video have quickly become summer favorites. These are ones that we could make over and over again because the flavor profiles are so amazing. And especially during summer, we want all those fresh, vibrant flavors. This is it, y'all. You have to see every single one of these recipes and try them for yourself because wow, they are so good. We are going to make a 1-pot caprese chicken. You guys know I love caprese chicken. I love caprese in general. So you've got tomato, you've got fresh mozzarella, basil, balsamic vinegar, absolutely delicious, but also then you just make it with a protein. You make it with chicken and you make it all in one pan. It doesn't get any easier than this. I do need to prep all of my ingredients, so I've got a few things already over at the stovetop, which is where the majority of this is gonna happen, since this is a 1-pot meal. I have these petite medley tomatoes. These are the ones that we really love because they're all different colors, and so it adds more color to a dish, which I love, which this is already a colorful dish because you've got the red and you've got the green, you've got the white, but I love that this also will add somewhat of an orange and a yellow. So I think I'm gonna use the rest of these. Ooh, that was close. And we're going to cut these in, I'm gonna quarter them. And then I've just got a little bowl here that we'll add them to. This is actually the first time that I have filmed something in over a month because we went on a massive vacation. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw some of that and it was wonderful, but I had done so much pre-filming so that I would still have videos available. So we're getting back into the swing of life now, back to reality. But if you don't follow me over on Instagram, we did what's called a crossing or a transatlantic cruise. And basically that means that you're coming either from the US over to Europe or you're doing Europe over to the US. And we started in Fort Lauderdale and we went to Azores, Portugal. So we did the islands, then we did 3 more days. The initial part of the trip was 5 days. Then we did 3 more days after Portugal to get to Ireland. We had really bad weather, so we were super late to Ireland, which is unfortunate because that was probably the place we were looking forward to the most. We did France, a couple of stops in the UK, and then our trip ended just outside of London. So since we figured it's possible that we'll never be back in London ever again, just based on, that being the trip of a lifetime, we stayed in an Airbnb in London for 4 nights and we just had the best time. It was such a great trip. I really hope to share more of that with you guys. My husband and I have been working on a couple of things that we're hoping we get to share a little bit more things like that with you. So stay tuned, hoping that's coming soon. But it was the trip of a lifetime. It was so amazing. We had an absolute blast. Wonderful. I would do it again in a heartbeat for sure. Okay, we've got our cut tomatoes. Now, the easier option for this recipe is to buy the mozzarella pearls. However, the mozzarella pearls were not on sale, but this big chunk of mozzarella was on sale. So I went ahead with that. We're gonna have to do a little bit of extra work, but that's fine. I would rather save the money and just do a little bit more work. So I'm gonna cut this into pearl size pieces. And I'm only using half of the mozzarella because I have another recipe this week that I need some for. I think that one actually also needed mozzarella pearls. So I'll keep watching my grocery store. So we are going to have a bit of shallot in dinner tonight. I'm gonna take off the outer paper layer here and we'll just chop this up a bit, just however you prefer. We're kind of making this up as we go, kind of just knowing the flavors that we love. I was finally able to find basil in my store. Y'all, I'm talking my 3 last grocery orders or pickups they haven't had any basil. And I've been to 5 different grocery stores now to try and find them. When it wasn't in the order, I started going to other stores trying to find it. There wasn't any, which is just baffling. I have no idea what was going on. I have some basil on my garden, which I'm still gonna be using a little bit, but I chose purple basil this time for my garden, which is really pretty, but I love the green too. So I need to order some green basil so I can get that growing in the garden. Okay, so I'm just pulling off the leaves Let me go pull off a few leaves so that we can add that to this. Look, so pretty. I love how pretty it is, adding that other element of color. So this can go in a bowl. I'm gonna cut the chicken into pieces, so strips and then bites. And you don't have to do this. You could do strips, you could do full chicken breasts if you want to, but I just figured this will be easy. I'm actually deciding last minute that I'm gonna serve mine with some rice. I feel like we need a little bit of a carb tonight. So if you want this to be a lower carb option, then obviously don't make it. And that's taking away from the whole one pot-ness of the meal. You could do some quinoa or something like that. Couscous, oh, it would be really good with couscous. I should have done that. I have a question for you guys. I have had these cutting boards for a while now. They're great, they've been awesome. They're by Henkel's. But I've been thinking we really probably need some new ones because we've had them for a while. I sanitize them and do all that. But I'm thinking a good wood board option. If you have suggestions on a great wood cutting board, I would love to hear those suggestions from you in the comments. So please let me know. Let's head over to the stove. I actually already have some oil in my, gotta turn that down a little bit further. It's getting a little smoky in here. I already have some oil in my cast iron skillet because that's what we're gonna be using tonight. Don't mind me, forgot to season our chicken. We are just using salt and pepper. Season from high so you don't get any major clumps, but you want it to have really good flavor. Okay, I have a nice hot pan. We're gonna add in that chicken. I'm not sure I'm gonna cook all of it at one time. I wanna make sure that it gets good color. So I'm gonna try not to overcrowd here. Yeah, let's do 2 batches. If you have a bigger cast iron skillet or skillet than I do, then you could probably do this all in one batch. All right, once you get a good cook on these, go ahead and take those out for just a couple minutes so we can cook that next batch. And I'm just transferring mine to a plate so that they can just sit to the side until we're ready to throw them back in here. Now that we've got all the chicken cooked, I have about 1.5 tablespoons of butter here. I don't know that you need that much. It seems a little excessive, but you know. Yeah, we probably needed 1 tablespoon. You know, I'm not even gonna use this whole thing. We can add more if we need it. But I wanna add in the shallot and just let that cook for about a minute. Let me switch utensils here. I also have my heat on right at a medium low-ish, just in case you're wondering. This is smelling really good. Okay, nice little saute on that. Let's add in some garlic. This is about, I think it's about 2 cloves, just by looking. And this we're only gonna let saute for about 30 seconds or so before we start adding in our other ingredients, just to make sure no garlic gets burned. All those tomatoes that we cut up. Y'all, the smell right now is incredible. Let's add back in the chicken and mix all that together. I'm gonna turn my heat off at this point. We just don't need it anymore. The chicken is already thoroughly cooked. Everything else is cooked. Here is where we make this really pretty. Let's add in the mozzarella cheese. Now, one thing you can do is add this and then pop it under the broiler for just a couple of minutes and the cheese will start to melt. The mozzarella is melty. Let's add some basil. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of this. I don't wanna cover up all the other pretty colors. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now The next step is a little bit of balsamic glaze. And there you have it. How delicious does this look? Can we talk about how stunning this plate of food looks? Like I said, we are serving ours with rice tonight, which I made in the rice maker, but all of these beautiful colors. I love seeing that on a plate. Okay, let me give this a little taste. It tastes like a caprese salad in the form of a full meal. It's very good. I'm a huge fan of caprese. So this dish is delicious. That is really good. I love the balsamic. Obviously, you can add a little bit more to the top. You can add more basil if you like. You can add more tomatoes if you like, whatever your preference is. But the chicken is cooked perfectly and all those flavors work together so well. I mean, all we used was salt and pepper, but all the freshness of the other stuff in there, so delicious. A portion of today's video is kindly sponsored by Osea, and this is not new here. You guys know I love Osea products. I have especially dry skin, and so really I'm always looking for the thing that's gonna make my skin look vibrant and healthy, young, supple, glowing. This is the Osea Hyaluronic C Serum, and this right here is gonna add serious hydration to your skin, which is, I mean, that's what we're really all looking for, right? You can use this 1 to 2 times a day. Put this on your skin after you wash your face and then right before you moisturize. It's gonna increase your skin's hydration, reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles. It's gonna plump up your skin and make it even more visibly firm. It's actually been clinically proven to minimize the look of fine lines and wrinkles in a matter of 2 weeks. Also, pro tip, if you apply this when your skin is ever so slightly damp, it's gonna help to really add to that hydration. You guys also know that I love this brand because of their clean ingredients, made with seaweed. There's no parabens or phthalates. I have a travel kit that actually includes a small bottle of this hyaluronic C serum, and it's so perfect to take with me. I love the glass bottles. It's such a great quality brand. I would love if you guys tried this for yourself as well. You can use the code AMBERGLOW for 10% off. Everything that you need will be in the description box of this video, AMBERGLOW for 10% off. For dinner tonight, we're making a grilled Mexican corn and chicken salad. I'm using my indoor grill because at any moment the sky is gonna open up and it's gonna rain tonight. So I have chicken thighs here. This is actually a pretty decent sized pack. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One is a little small, so it's like 5.5-ish. I'm gonna season these with salt and pepper. I did already pat them dry as well. And let's add some salt. And then as soon as my grill is heated, I'm gonna go ahead and start that. So I'm just gonna set that to the side for just a second. We need to pull the husk off some corn. Now, I do believe that these would be better on an actual like open fire grill or gas grill or something like that. But like I said, we don't have the option to really do that tonight. So we're gonna pass and we're just gonna grill it here on the indoor grill. We'll see how it turns out. It should char at least a little bit. The grill is preheated. Open that up. I'm gonna try and fit the majority of the chicken on one side. I don't know if that's gonna happen though. And we're gonna go season side down. Let's season this other side. And then I'm gonna take the corn. Let's lay it out as best as possible here. We're gonna let that cook, and while that does, get our lettuce ready. I just took some off of the garden. There were several things that were ready to go. So we are going to make a nice big salad out of this. To add to our salad, that nice full salad that we have here, I'm gonna chop up some of these gourmet medley tomatoes. We really like these. I like all the different colors that they add. So that's usually what we pick up. And I'm just gonna quarter them. Just add as many tomatoes as you like. Okay, so here's what I do. We're gonna end up tossing this salad in the dressing. So I go ahead and cut tomatoes and add them here because they're gonna get tossed in. But then I like to cut a little bit and set them to the side so that once the salad is made, we can top it with the tomatoes. It just adds more color. So you don't need too many, just a few to go on the top, and it will look really pretty. We need to make the dressing. We're gonna make it in this bottle that says ranch. It is not gonna be ranch. I was gonna use avocado oil, but we only have about a tablespoon left, so we're gonna use this olive oil. I need about 3 tablespoons. Add about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. 2 tablespoons of, nope, teaspoons of honey. Add a pinch of salt. And a little bit of pepper. And now most dressings like this are not going to tell you to add this, but I like to add a little bit of Dijon mustard. There's just something about it. It just adds a different element of flavor, and I really like it. So either a Dijon or a stone ground, and we usually go with about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. Okay, now just mix all that together. And that's really all the dressing you need for this. This has such good flavor, this whole thing, so trust me, this will be good. Okay, now let's check and see if we are ready to turn. It's looking pretty good. This thing doesn't get quite as hot as what it used to. And just let it continue to cook. Okay, the chicken is done. I went ahead and stuck the corn into the air fryer for just a couple minutes since we couldn't make it on the outdoor grill. This one just was not getting hot enough for it. I think you could cover it with foil on the grill and it might cook a little faster. I wanna go ahead and make up the kind of like dressing almost that the corn is gonna go in. We need about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I'm gonna add, let's add about a tablespoon of mayo. A tablespoon of Greek yogurt. This is plain. Some garlic, some minced garlic, just about a clove. And then top that off with some ancho chili powder. So good. Right around a teaspoon. And then I'm actually gonna add a little bit of salt to ours. Just a pinch. Let's mix all that together. Once the corn is done, we're gonna take it off of the ear and then mix it in this dressing, which just is so delicious. While that corn is finishing, let's dress the salad. I'm gonna pour the majority of the dressing over it, leaving just a little bit, just to drizzle over the top. Toss that, just a light toss, making sure you get some of that dressing all throughout. And this is what I meant by I hold back some of the tomatoes because they all will just sink to the bottom when I toss the salad. Okay, let's move that to the side for just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting up my chicken. And I don't know if we're gonna use all of this. We'll probably use, let's start with 4 and we'll see what that looks like. Cutting into nice big slices. Okay, I'm actually gonna save this one so that we can do kind of like a layering effect just to make it really pretty. Okay, we've got cotija cheese. Oh, good, this is one of my favorite cheeses. Just add some, okay? Add some. And we're gonna do a layering effect again. We gotta just have it looking really pretty. All these colors, you wanna see all of them. Okay, as these finish up, they're really hot. Ooh, my goodness. We're cutting the corn off and adding it to the little mixture that we made. All right, let's toss the corn in that mixture. Add to the salad. Add those tomatoes. The last piece of chicken. the last of the dressing, and a little more cheese. Now that's a salad. Okay, we are ready to eat. So I'm just gonna take a little bite out of here before I take it to the table and serve it. That's a great salad. You immediately get that hint of lime, but the sweetness of the honey in that dressing. On top of that, you have the different textures. So you've got the lettuce, which is a little bit crunchy. You've got the chicken, which is nice and soft, but it's kind of got like a crunch on it because of the grill. And the corn, which is cooked to perfection. I really like that. That cotija cheese. Then you get just a little tiny hint of, not necessarily spice, but just that chili powder in the corn. And I'm gonna take this to the table because we're gonna eat the rest of this too. But that is very good. Great, great option for a dinner that has everything you need in it. We're making this summer beef tip casserole. Amazing flavors in this. It's easy to make in that although it takes a lot of time in the oven, you don't really have to do a lot. So it's kind of like prep it all, put it in the oven, and it's there for a couple of hours. I do already have some of my beef tips here. This is probably around a pound. You could use more if you feel like you need more for your family. But before we do anything with this, I'm gonna head over to the stove. We need to turn our oven on to 325 degrees, and I need to get some oil started in my Dutch oven for searing off this meat. Okay, just about a tablespoon or so of oil, just enough that you can use it for searing. And I'm gonna turn my heat onto a medium high. Okay, for this, all you really need is some flour, some salt and pepper. I'm gonna take a little bit of salt. Just make sure you season it really well. This is the main point of seasoning for this casserole, casserole-ish kind of thing. I'm gonna add pepper. And then we're also gonna toss in about 2 tablespoons of flour. I probably have about 2 tablespoons in here. Maybe not even, maybe a tablespoon is fine, honestly, just with the amount of meat that we have in there. So whenever you're making this, you can make it in a Dutch oven, just like I'm doing. You can actually also make this in the crock pot. I'm choosing to go with the Dutch oven method just because I feel like we've been using our crock pot a lot lately, which is fantastic, but I just wanted to change it up. I wanted to do something a little bit different. Okay, I'm gonna add just a touch more flour here. And then once that oil is heated in the Dutch oven, we can sear this. So the main thing is we're not cooking it all the way through. We just want a good sear. We want good color on this. Okay, it is a poppin'. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in there and start getting that, getting a sear. Okay, I hear you, calm down. Y'all, I've said it how many times now that I need to adjust my oven, the little feet on the bottom of it that the oven leans forward a bit. And every single time I get done cooking, I forget that we need to do that. Okay, I think we're all gonna fit in here. It's gonna be tight quarters, which feel free to do this in multiple batches and you'll get an even better sear, but I don't really feel like it. I just wanna get all of this in there and get it into the oven because it's gonna take about 3 hours and we have a busy evening. Okay, so we're just letting that get a little bit of color on each side. That flour is gonna help to add a beautiful crust. I'm actually gonna turn my heat back up a little bit. I had turned it down because it was popping on me. Somebody comment on this video and remind me that I need to adjust the feet on my oven so that I will read it later and remember to do it. Okay, let's start to turn these a bit. I know we probably got, yeah, see, we're starting to get some color. That's exactly what we want. We want it on pretty much all sides though, if we can get it. You can see how all that beautiful color is starting to form. I mean, that is exactly what we're looking for. Like, that piece right there, oh yeah. I'm about ready to finish this up. Technically, I wanted a Guinness for this, okay? But the grocery shopper that was doing my order, she said that they didn't have any single. I just said, pick up just any ale for me, just a 1 can. So this is what we're going with. We also need some beef broth, and then we've got some minced garlic that we're gonna add in to the braising liquid, and then that's gonna go into the oven. So we're adding about 2 cloves of garlic. You want a decent amount in here. That even might be a little more than 2 cloves. Stir that around, just let that cook for about 1 minute or so. I can already tell this is gonna be so good. I turned my heat down a little bit. It's on like a medium-low right now, just because I didn't want the garlic to burn. Y'all, if you've ever had burnt garlic before, it is nasty. Bitter, not good. So we're making sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm adding in the beer. This can is, this is a pint, so it is 19 ounces. We're just gonna add about 10 ounces. So maybe about half. And then also about a half cup. We're using beef bone broth. Just feel free to use beef broth or whatever your preference is. Just about a half cup. If you're concerned about the alcohol and you don't drink, you don't have to be concerned because the alcohol actually will cook off. But if you don't want to use it at all, that's completely fine. You can just substitute out the amount of beer or ale or whatever it is that you're using and use more beef broth or bone broth. I'm just gonna give this a quick stir. My oven is almost preheated to that 325. I've turned my stove off. And we're gonna put a lid on. Yes, it is a well-loved, what's this called? Dutch oven. Now this is gonna go into the oven for about 3 hours. I'm leaving the lid on. I am gonna check it about once every hour or so and make sure that the liquid hasn't evaporated or anything. And if it has, then I will add more. So I am gonna be saving this. I am gonna be saving the bone broth so that we can add more if it needs it. So I am setting my timer for 60 minutes so that I can check it, and then I'll just do that 2 more times afterward, and it'll take about 3 hours. Right at the 3 hour mark though, that's when we're gonna add in some of the other stuff that's gonna go into this, and it's gonna be over the top delicious. I love all of these kind of flavors. You guys, you're gonna love this one too, I know it. While the beef is in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up the vegetables that we need. So we're gonna be using a zucchini, some red bell pepper, some green bell pepper. I've got more on the garden if I need to pull them because my green one doesn't look great. We're gonna get what we can out of it though. And then I'm thinking about maybe adding some shallot too. Now I am gonna keep these cut fairly large, just because that's the way that I had planned to do it. So maybe like 1 or so inch pieces, about like that. I checked the beef at the 1 hour mark, then I reset the timer. We currently have 17 minutes left until we get to 2 hours. So obviously I'm doing this pretty far ahead of time, but we have some work outside that we need to do. So when my husband is ready, we're gonna go outside and do all that kind of stuff. And then this will be all prepped and ready to go so that when we're ready to eat, it's just tossing everything together. Okay, let's get what we can out of the green one. I had actually planned to make this recipe last week, and then you know how sometimes the weeks go, plans change, things happen. So these veggies that I bought for this, I still want to use them, but they don't look quite as good as when I got them. Well, hello, kitty kitty. On the days when my husband goes to work, we rarely see our cat, rarely. But she kind of knows that he should be home in the next 30 to 45 minutes, so she's decided to grace the downstairs with her presence. I'm gonna cut this about the same size as I did the peppers. Like I said, I've got some shallot, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that. All right, so the last thing that we'll have to do is get some couscous prepped, which if you've never made couscous before, takes like 5 minutes. So I'm not too concerned about getting that one ready to go. The vegetables I knew were gonna take a little bit more time to chop and prep and all that. Beef is in there. I'm gonna check it again in about 13 minutes and then we'll go from there. Here is the 2 hour mark and you can see how much that liquid has decreased. I still think we would be okay for another hour, but just to be sure, I'm gonna add a touch more. Now that will be plenty. we should be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid back on and let this go for another hour. All right, my husband got home. We went straight to work in the yard. Now I'm coming in because we need to get these vegetables into the, every time, you know, the pot we're cooking in. The Dutch oven. It's gonna cook in there just for about 10 to 20 minutes. We still want them to have a little bit of crunch to them, so I'm not gonna cook them too long. Give that a quick stir. It already looks delicious. It smells delicious. And we're gonna get this back in there, and then I'm gonna get started on the couscous so that will be ready as well. All right, we've got my pot over here on the stove, and then in my measuring cup, I've got 1.5 cups of, we're using beef broth or beef bone broth. I have about a tablespoon of butter in there as well, and then I also put in around a half teaspoon of salt. Add that to your pot. We're gonna let this boil. Okay, we have a boil, so we need to put the couscous in there. Give that a quick stir. Take it off the heat. So I'm gonna turn my heat off, put the lid on, and then move it off the heat and just let it sit for about 5 minutes. All right, let's check this, see how we are. Oh man, it looks so good. Let me give it a little stir. Okay, also for the couscous, you just fluff it up a little bit. You can top this with some thyme or parsley or oregano or whatever your favorite thing is. I just added a little bit of the broth that we cooked this in to the bowl so that it would have all those really good flavors. Let's just try a bite here. That's delicious. I love the texture of the couscous, and then everything else is a little bit larger, so you have the larger pieces of the peppers and the steak the beef tips that we have in there. But the flavors of everything are so good. Braising that meat pretty much all day, this is very good. And I know it took a long time, but it did not take a lot of effort. So this is one you should absolutely try. I have tons of other summer recipes, so don't exit out of YouTube just yet. Watch the video that I have linked at the end. I also highly suggest that you check out my sliders video. They are perfect for summer, perfect for a 4th of July event coming up. If you're gonna have people over, or maybe you're just gonna have a relaxing day with your family, y'all, these sliders, you cannot go wrong with any of them because they are so good. So check that one out. Our verse today comes from Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. These are some of our absolute favorites. I'm telling you, every time we put one of these on the table, we are just so excited because of these amazing, vibrant flavors and colors. I hope that you're having a great summer. Let me know in the comments which one of these you're gonna try first.